Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another coffee chat. Good to see a few of you guys on nice and early. Good morning, Alison, Kevin. Good evening. Melinda, Donna, James, Chris, James, all the way from the Tablelands. There you go, up in the Tablelands. Atherton Tablelands, James, Atherton. I'm a semi-local to the north. I was born and grew up in Charters Towers. Well, half my life, half my school life in Charters Towers and half my school life in a little place called Pentland. I don't know if anyone knows Pentland. If you don't, that's understandable. It was less than 200 people on a good day in the town. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you guys on this morning. While things get a little warmed up when it comes to people jumping on, I'll do the quick intros. Most of you know this. Jason Witten's my name. We've been doing some property investing for over 22 years myself, coaching property investors coming up to 20 years through a business that Sam, my wife and business partner Shay, and myself started 20 years ago called Positive Real Estate. And along the way, we've learned a few things, as you guys might know. And if you don't know, and if you're brand new, well, give us a shout out, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from, what you're up to. And great to have you along and on this morning. Ingrid, good morning to you. Kelly, Jeff, howdy, folks. Good to see you. Good to see you, all of you. Someone's checking out their new builds in the high country today. Well, awesome stuff. Awesome job. Hey, plenty going on out there in the world of property investing. And today I thought we'd talk about the idea of what's going on with work from home. Let me know in the chat. Hey, Michael, how are you, mate? Let me know in the chat. Does anyone work from home? Is anyone a work from home worker? Maybe 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week? You know, put it in the chat for me. How many days a week do you work from home? Some of you guys might do none. That's me, Michael. Yeah, I was just thinking that actually, Michael. Yep, I work from home at least 3 to 4 days a week. I could probably work from home pretty well my whole life. I usually get yeah, Jeff, I reckon. I reckon it counts for the moment anyway, Jeff. There you go. Full-time at home. Yeah, 5 days a week. You know, it's an interesting thing, right? So this structural change, this conversation has been coming for a long time, right? You know, hey, the world should be able to work from wherever and connectivity and there you go. 4 days a week. That's awesome, Melinda. You know, and it's brought about, well, I mean, before COVID, BC, before COVID crew, it wasn't that popular. It wasn't something that most people did or had access to or could even think about. There was like, Kevin's like, I don't want to work from home. Well, this is what I was going to ask. This is what I was going to say, Kevin. For some of us, it's like, wow, this is amazing. And for some of us, we say, oh, that's the worst thing I could think of. And depending on how your home is set up. And that's part of my conversation today is, as investors, property investors, what does it look like for you and, let's say your properties, can your properties take advantage of, can they take advantage of some of these things that, work from home brings and gives for people, etc. So that was kind of the question, because there's a few who do work from home. Throughout COVID, though, the CBDs have had a bit of a rough time of it. In if you used to work in a CBD, the conversation. There you go. 2 days from home. It's very, very common now, and there's a structural shift. According to a few studies being done right now in the world of the commercial world, going back to work. What's going to happen to our CBDs? especially our office blocks, our office towers, etc. What's going to happen? What is the big question that might happen for all of us in the world of working from home? And or are our CBDs, are our cities going to kick back to life and, and provide that economic hum that used to be there? So, for you and I as property investors, let's think about what this looks like and maybe how we can take advantage of it or, understand it so we can make sure we maybe weave in that capacity if we want to as part of our, investing structure when it comes to our properties and bits and pieces. So a bit of a forecast of, hey, less people going back to the office in the world of CBDs. But my question to you guys is, just working from home, what's something else that happened? What's something else that happened in the world of working from home in COVID? Something that happened, not only people said, I'm going to stay, I'm going to have to work from home, but what's another thing that people did instead of working from home locally? Did they break through another barrier? I'm trying to ask a question without giving the answer away. But anyway, what else happened? People said, I'll just go home and work. But what did people say? I might do something else. I might go somewhere else. People changed jobs. Yes, Treen. I'm asking the question, people got fat. That may be true, Alison, may be true. Too easy to get a snack from the fridge, huh? Too easy to get a snack from the fridge. Uber Eats absolutely blew up. I mean, I don't know how many. We're still in a habit of using Uber Eats. Side hustles for sure. But Sharon, you nailed it. People left the cities, or more accurately, Sharon, a lot of people changed. A lot of people changed cities. So let's have a look at this. Let's have a little. I should have. They all moved to Queensland. Boom, Donna. I should have asked. Where do you think they all moved? Check this out, folks. This was to the end of December 2021. All right, for all of us of just recent times, and New South Wales and Victoria lost a fair few people. This was the interstate migration. Many lifestyle changes, Joel, for sure. People decided to sort of go to the fringes of cities. It was very interesting. Very interesting. A lot of Victorians. This was actually quite an interesting one. I should have kept the study on this one, but a lot of the Victorians went to country Victoria. A lot of New South Welshies went to Queensland. That's kind of on average. So, if you add these two numbers together, that gets pretty close to that 50,000. So, a lot of people went from there to there, folks. Northern Territory, ACT, and Tassie lost a bit of peoples. The net inflow. There you go. Yeah, and that's true, Belinda, isn't it? I don't think they would let people out, Belinda, though. I think that was it. If the borders were open, if you could get out of Victoria, I reckon a lot more would have left. You never know. But so it's interesting. So, where did they go? And and the question really about this is, did they change jobs? Right? So did they change jobs? Because I know a lot. I know a lot of people, including people in my business, that kept the same job. I've had at least 10 people in my business move state completely because they were able to work from home. Because they were able to work from home, and they moved state. Okay. And they moved state, and they were all from either Sydney or Melbourne, folks, for me, and this is just an interesting conversation. They all moved state. They all moved to Queensland. And what was the net result? What happened, which I don't think, some adapted their jobs to work from home. And I reckon, Treen, it's a conversation in this space for sure. There's certain jobs and roles that could easily integrate work from home or, travel, FIFO. I know a lot of people who move to the Gold Coast and they work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Sydney, and they work from home Monday and Monday and Friday. And if you look at that, you've got like 4 days at home and 3 days away, and you're only kind of, 1 night, 2 nights away, and you're 3 days. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, demand in regional areas went through the roof. You're dead right, Trina. You're dead right. The regionals were a bit closer. So the conversation, what I saw in this transformation, folks, which you'll get to a point here for us as property investors, so stick with it, is that within sort of 2 hours of the cities became super valuable, massively valuable. And it didn't necessarily mean geography in a car. So in a car, if you could fly down, if you could catch the 7 o'clock flight in the Gold Coast and you can be in Sydney by 9 o'clock for your first meeting, that's not a bad outcome. That's not a bad outcome. And I know a lot of people doing it. So, what does that mean for us and the future as we look to things? Infrastructure. What sort of infrastructure is going to be important as we rebuild this, this world, this post-COVID process? What sort of infrastructure when it comes to our properties, our houses, and, what does a house need to contain? And what does it need to be near? What infrastructure does it need to be near? Okay, for this to work. FIFO, exactly, Chris. The mining community has been doing this for decades, right? You could live anywhere in the world almost, as long as you can fly to and from work. I know a lot of people who lived in Bali. My brother was one of them who entertained the idea of moving to Bali from Western Australia because it was close and had some lifestyle arbitrage, okay? So it doesn't surprise me when you look at this graph here, this stat here, it doesn't surprise me, and it probably shouldn't surprise you either, that, Brisbane with 50,000 people coming along, had some pretty significant growth over and above, percentage-wise, over and above the rest of the country as well. The major capital cities, anyway, major ones, which is Melbourne and Sydney, which we're comparing it to be honest. What was another reason? Chuck this in the chat. What was another reason, what's another significant benefit of moving cities and /states often, change cities for working, if you can still transfer one of your jobs or your working conditions to another city? What's another significant upshot of moving city? So what happened for people when they lived in Melbourne or Sydney and they moved, let's say, to Brisbane? Let's use that analogy. And it could be the same for regional, where Trina was saying, hey, I used to live in the city, and now I'm going to live in regional somewhere. What else happened for many of these people? Cost of rent and housing. Boom, Alison. So let's have a look at that. If you look at that, even now, even today, after all of this growth, there are significant cities. Property can be cheaper, Belinda. Yep. There are significant cities that have some significant differences between, these other places. So right now, you look at Sydney is, 1.3 million. Median value, Melbourne still under $1 million median value. Brizzy certainly has had a good bump. I mean, Brisbane used to be 600, folks, only 2 or 3 years ago. But you have a look at these other cities right now. Adelaide has had a decent bump, and that's pretty expensive for Adelaide. Let's face it, folks. Hobart I still don't understand Hobart. I don't know where the money comes from. It must come from bloody Melbourne. Darwin is low and Canberra. All right, so, which one of those? Tell me right there in that chart, ladies and gents. Ladies and gents, let's have a look at this. And this is kind of a pretty interesting conversation, actually, to go on. Price point for sure, Joel. Which one of those places right now would you be having a little look at? And I'm probably giving the answer away. There's a couple of places that I still think have got plenty of legs, that's for sure. So, let's have a look. Let me ask this question. Where are the highest incomes in Australia, folks? What city has the highest incomes, highest average income in Australia? Put that one in the chat for me if you like. I can tell you where it is. The highest income in Australia is in Canberra. Canberra, yeah, boom, Joel. Where's the next highest income, folks? Where's the income after that? So which city after that has the next highest median income of Australia? You got it, Katrine. That's the highest income for sure. Let's have a look. If anyone can get this one after Canberra. Not Melbourne, Joel. Not Melbourne. Not Melbourne. It's Perth, folks. It's Perth. It's WA. So check this out, right? Check this out. You've got the lowest house price, almost the lowest apartment price, which should be, don't worry about Darwin anyway. You don't want to invest in Darwin, let's face it. It's got probably the highest average yield at the moment. So here's my call, and we're sniffing around over there to get a piece of the Perth action right now. So if you're in our mentoring program, some awesome deals going to be coming your way. Certainly for me, for you, that should be on the radar. So, for us right now, really, you've got the ones that are still within reach, certainly over here for Melbourne and Brizzy. Certainly Brisbane houses, you want a piece of that action, maybe even Melbourne if you get it right. I think Perth's going to come to fruition. And, Canberra's dashed off. There's a couple of deals in Canberra that are worth doing. But, folks, if you're going to be buying in these regions as well, what does it look like when it attracts people and they can work from home? It's probably part of the circle round for the conversation today is like, what infrastructure do you need in that house? You need, an extra bedroom, the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms rather than the 1 and the 2s may be attractive depending on what's going on. Anyway, hopefully that made sense. We have had a pretty significant population change. That's changing because of working from home and other lifestyle and what you would call life arbitrage maneuvers, wanting to get a better lifestyle, bang for your buck. And, where's that going to happen? Extra car spot for sure, Joel. Close to the airport. A lot of people think that an airport, a noisy airport's like, a terrible place to invest. I can tell you, I know a lot of people who like the idea of living close to the airport so they can even walk across the road. I know people who like to live down the bottom of the Gold Coast. You can literally walk across the road to the airport. They don't care about the noise. They've got soundproof glass and a view of the ocean. There you go. Anyway, all right. Hopefully that made sense this morning. What's going on? People are shifting around Australia. How can we be part of the action? Because populations do push prices along. And, where's it worth having a sticky beak and a look? There's some value buying around as we go along. Yeah, Alison. And I like the smell of aviation fuel as well, Alison. But don't tell anyone. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Don't want to sniff that for too much. I'd end up with some brain damage. Anyway, maybe it's already occurred. But anyway, that's it. Done and dusted. Over and out. Wealth Coffee Chat. Done. Andy Fenton and I are going to hang out this evening for a little wine and wisdom. So join us along for that one as well. We're going to sort of debrief the week, see what's going on. Another cash rate rise of recent times. Well, that's just, we knew that was coming. We have a guest next week, folks, not this week, but come along this week anyway. We'd love to see you and hang out and talk a little bit more in depth about what's going on out there in the market. So there you go. Belinda, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. All right, team. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Another Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. And you guys be good, be well, wherever you are. See you tonight. Or if not, see you tomorrow for another, no, not tomorrow, next week, because it's the weekend, for another Wealth Coffee Chat. Bye, team. Take care.